It's colourful and it's chaotic, and it's become a daily ritual in one of India's biggest cities. But it's also a desperate struggle to lay hands on a commodity that most of us take for granted. This is Chennai's water crisis, the result of 2 years when monsoon rains have failed, made more acute by a lack of stored water that would have helped to survive a drought.
This really is survival of the fittest. It'll be another 2 days before another lorry comes, and they've got to grab whatever they can.
Families in the more deprived districts normally rely on water pumps, but they've run dry. The only way you can get water now is from tankers that drive it across the city. Chennai officially ran out of water on June the 19th. It's referred to as Day Zero. All 4 main reservoirs were empty after 191 days without rain. As the lorry inches down the street, neighbours jostle for position. Water is free, but it's limited.
காலையில 6 மணில இருந்து தண்ணி வரல இல்ல அங்க குழாயில தண்ணி வரும்ல நாங்க எந்த தண்ணில குடும்பம் பண்ண முடியும் அதனால வேலை வெட்டி விட்டுட்டு உட்கார்ந்து தண்ணி இல்ல
I find Welly Amal getting the last drops from the tanker. The 72-year-old grandmother can't afford a rickshaw. So she goes backwards and forwards carrying the containers, which hold 10 litres in separate trips. Home is a basic wooden shack that she shares with her family of 9. The water has to last for the next 48 hours. Not surprisingly, it's a struggle.
பயந்தானம்மா தண்ணியே இல்லனா கஷ்டமா தான் இருக்கும் சாப்பிறதுக்கு இல்ல தண்ணி எப்படி குளிக்காம எத்தனை நாளைக்கு இருக்க முடியும் துணி துவைச்சு கட்டணும் தண்ணி கஷ்டம் தான் ரொம்ப கஷ்டம் எனக்கு ரொம்ப கஷ்டம்
In her long life, Welly Amal can't remember a time when it's ever been this bad, and it's causing friction with her neighbours.
தண்ணி பிடிக்கணும்னாக்கா ஒருத்தருக்கு 5 குடம் கொட்டா ஒருத்தருக்கு 10 குடம் வேணும் ஒருத்தருக்கு 20 குடம் வேணும் ஜனம் நிறைய இருக்கிறாங்க இல்லையா
At water distribution centres, they're working flat out. It's become a lucrative business. The majority of people have to pay for deliveries. It costs an average family around 1/5 of their monthly income. Yet demand still outstrips supply. At the height of summer, some schools, hospitals and businesses had to close or ration what they used. The Balaji Bhavan restaurant was one of those forced to make tough decisions. During the shortage, manager Mr. Muthu Krishnan tells me they regularly closed for breakfast and lunch.
வரக்கூடிய கஸ்டமர் சாப்பிடுறதுக்காக பாலாஜி பவனுக்கு விரும்பி வருவாங்க எல்லா ரெஸ்டாரண்ட்டுமே பிரைவேட் லாரி வாங்கி தான் ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் நடத்திக்கிட்டு இருக்கோம்
He had to pay almost 10 times the normal rate to get water delivered.
பாஸ் பண்ணா கை வேணும் பாத்திரம் கழுவுனா தண்ணி வேணும் கண்டிப்பா தண்ணி பிரச்சனை இருந்தால தண்ணி இல்லனா ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் நடத்தவே முடியாது
For a group of girls, the approaching train might look like a game, but for the government of Tamil Nadu, it's part of the solution. Now, after a 135-mile journey, the water train has finally made it, 7 hours late. There are supposed to be 2 trains a day, each with 50 carriages. Pipes take the water into an underground network, specially built earlier this year.
So the process of getting this water off the train has started. Altogether, there'll be about 5.5 million litres. It sounds a fantastic amount, but it's actually less than 1% of what Chennai needs every day.
The beach at Chennai provides an escape from the crowds here in India's 6th largest city, where the population has doubled to more than 10 million in the last decade. Of course, the sea is also a potential source of water. There are already 2 desalination plants, and city officials are planning to build 2 more. At the Water Board, I wanted to find out if officials thought that would be enough. The chairman took over 6 months ago and suggests everything's under control.
Chennai, after 2023-24, there is no water crisis. We are ready for any eventuality.
It appears that you don't feel there is a massive problem.
Actually, there is a problem. but it is not like a big problem. We are facing water crisis due to monsoon failure. That is the problem, and groundwater level is also depleted.
The empty Chembaram reservoir is a reminder of just how scarce water reserves have become. It covers more than 5 square miles.
Normally, this lake would be 24 feet high?
Yeah, 24 feet. It's the full capacity of this.
But does environmentalist David Manohar agree with the official line that this is really the result of failed monsoons?
We don't blame the monsoon because the monsoon has been regular, except for 1 or 2 years when there is a shortfall.
David is convinced that it's the rapid expansion of the city without proper planning that is destroying natural water reserves.
All this is man-made because we haven't cared for the water bodies surrounding us. Vacant lands are developed into residential properties without any basic amenities. And this has led to depletion of groundwater.
On the drive back to the city centre, it's easy to see what he means. There are new housing developments, new roads, covering farmland in concrete and filling in lakes. So there's nowhere for rain to collect, and water can't seep into the ground. In 2015, Chennai experienced the heaviest rain in 100 years. It should have replenished water reserves. Instead, much of it was lost, allowed to flow into the Bay of Bengal. Activists want more water to be collected when there's heavy rainfall, so it can be used to ease any drought.
The rain falling on the roof is brought down by this pipe.
Dr. Sekhar Raghavan was an early convert to the idea of rain harvesting. He redesigned his own offices to collect rain in underground storage tanks. And he tried to persuade his neighbours of the advantages.
Why are we ignoring traditional wisdom? There are evidences to show that even 5,000 years back, we had harvested rain. So I started going from house to house. That was in 1995, almost 25 years back. But people thought I was a crazy person.
If people don't wake up and they don't start collecting their rainwater, what do you think the future will look like?
I've been telling people that all future droughts are going to be more severe than the present one. Because the demand keeps increasing in a city, right? Whereas the supply remains the same. When you get piped water supply, all you do is open a tap, and if you see water there, you are not bothered about anything else. Only during a crisis, people wake up and realize, where am I getting my water from?
He isn't the only one raising the frightening prospect that this summer's water shortage could become the new normal. There are potential solutions, but as I travel around this vibrant city, I wonder if anyone has the time to listen. Or, as seems more likely, they'll continue to take a once plentiful resource for granted.